Greetings everyone. In this lecture I want to cover very basic terminal commands. So if you don't know how to use terminal, this lecture is for you. Otherwise, feel free to skip this. So we are going to fire up our Parrot secure operating system. And if you're running it for the first time, it may ask you to install some tools. So make sure you install them. Also, it will give some kind of errors and it can give some kind of warnings. So that's normal. Just like you see here, it says fail, 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 fail. That's pretty much okay because we will fix it whenever we need that. Now, first time you boot in, so if you are using the image which I provided the link, you probably know you already downloaded it from the osboxes.org. You will find the password on that same page. However, you can try osboxes.org right here as well. So osboxes.org. Just press enter and it should work. Now you can go full screen right here. And if this bar is not moving ahead, make sure you unpin it right here, right? So this may be pinned, you can unpin it. Now this is the Parrot secure operating system. In some cases, it may not be coming as full screen. So it may give you the issues in the screen. In that case, make sure you install the Linux version of VMware tools, which it will automatically ask you. And after that, you can go to menu, control center right here. So you can just search for that, control center. Right here you will find the display. And here you can select the proper resolution right here. You can select anyone you like. So after that, just click on apply system-wide or apply, and then you can pretty much get the full screen. Then you might want to restart the system as well. Let's go ahead and work with the terminal. So right here, when you right click somewhere, you find open in terminal. Otherwise, you have the terminal right here. This is the ParrotSec terminal. Let's move on to desktop. So first of all, the command is pwd, which says print working directory. It'll show you where you are. Currently we are in home folder. In home folder, there is a folder called osboxes. Now also open the Parrot right here. This is this PC or my computer like thing in Windows, right? Here you will find the home folder. So this is basically the home folder, and you can go ahead and go to the osboxes right here. So this is the place where we are in the terminal. Now it says that you are in the home/osboxes, which is this folder. If you just say ls, which is list, it will list out whatever is the content available in your folder, in your directory. Let me zoom in so that you can see this more better. Now I think it's better. Let's press ls, and it says desktop, document, download, music, pictures, public template, and videos. You can see all the files, basically the folders right here. Let's create a file as well. So we are going to say create document. Let's go ahead and create an empty file, test.txt. Let's do the ls again. And you see test.txt is right here. Now there is a long listing as well, ls-la. This gives a much better glance on the listing. It shows you some hidden folders. These are the hidden things. This one, this one, this one, the one having a dot there. Also, it shows you the permissions set right here. So what are the read, write, execute permissions? It shows you the owner as well and the group who owns the file. And it shows you the size as well. In some other Linux, you can even try ls-lh, which is the human readable. This also works here, and now it just changes this thing to the kilobytes and megabytes and gigabytes and all. So it makes these bits into the KB, MB and GB so that you can read it easily. And also ls-lh doesn't show you the hidden files. So for a normal work you can use ls-lh, which is the human readable. Let's clear the screen. So you can just say clear to clear your screen. Let's do a ls again. And remember, we have test.txt. Let's copy this file to our downloads folder. So if you go to downloads folder, you see there is nothing. Now we are going to copy this file to the downloads folder. To do that, the simple command is cp test.txt. You can press tab key to autocomplete. So I typed TE and then I pressed tab key. It just completed the path itself. Now you can add the path where you want to send the file to. And now just get it in the downloads folder. So we say copy test.txt and then where we want to copy it. Just press enter. And you don't get an error. That means it worked. Let's go ahead and verify that. You see the file is right here. Let's rename it. How do you rename it? You basically move the file from the same location to the same location, but you just go ahead and move it in a different name. So to make it easy, let's move this test.txt. Let's rename this one. For that, we're going to say mv move test.txt. Now we are referring to this file to the same location. So we are in home, OS boxes. Yeah, so we are right here. And now we're going to give it a new name, new test.txt. Let's press enter. That doesn't give us an error. It means it worked. You see the name has just changed. Now let's move this file to downloads. So this time mv and now new test.txt, and we are going to move it to home, OS boxes, downloads, and just press enter. And you see it's not here. It has now been moved to downloads right here. Now, how do you really move between folders when you are in terminal? So it is fine. You can come here. You can go back and forth in graphical interface. But how do you do that in terminal? The command is cd, change directory. Cd, and then where you want to go. We want to go to the downloads folder. So cd, and then the path, home, OS boxes, downloads. Just press enter, and now you see this right here shows downloads. It means we are in downloads folder. If you just say ls here, you see both of those files. If you just say pwd here, you see the path is now this one. I'm going to clear the screen. Now how do you move back? So if you want to move one step ahead, you say cd space dot dot and just press enter, and it will take you back. Now if I just say pwd, you will see I am one step back. Let's say I am again in that location in the downloads. So I am in downloads and I want to move in documents. I can do this very easily by saying cd/home/osboxes/downloads and the documents. I can use a kink sign here. Kink means home / documents, and it'll actually automatically find the documents for me. We just press enter and you say pwd, it will show you that now you are in the documents folder. So a kink is just like a shortcut. The kink sign, you can generally see it as the key which is above the tab key on the US keyboards. Let's clear the screen. Let's move to the downloads again. And if we just do ls, we have these two files. Let's go ahead and delete the new test.txt. To delete something, you have the flag rm. You have the command rm. So rm is remove file name and just press enter. And now if you just say ls, you will see there is no file, right? You can verify that right here. Downloads, and there is only one file. Now let's minimize this up, and I really think we don't need it. So let's minimize that and work with it only. Okay, let's ls. Now we have test.txt. So let's try to edit this file. We have a text editor called Nano. Nano is my favorite text editor. You say Nano and then the file name, and then you just press enter. And here, this is the terminal based command line text editor. Let's type something. My name is John. This is an exclusive course by Proficient School. Okay, we just type these two lines. Now how do you exit? You see right here, this sign is for command key or the control key in case of Windows users. You say control X. Now it says save modified buffer. Answer no will discard the changes. Let's say you don't want to save the changes, you just say no here. Otherwise you say yes. So why? File name to write. You can, like you have the save as functionality. Let's say you edited a file, but you want to save it as a copy. So now you can just add another name and it will save a copy of this. So the original document will stay intact. In this case, we are just going to press enter here. So it just saved with the same name. Now if we just try to run that command again, you will see our changes were saved. Let's press Ctrl X this time, and it doesn't ask us anything because we did not made any changes here. A good utility to see what's there in a file is cat. So cat text.txt, and it will show you what is there in that file. It is showing me the content of this file right here. Another one is head. So head test.txt. It will show you first few lines of the file. Let's say, for an example, I'm going to add a lot of lines in this. So let's add a lot of lines here. Okay. These are this is the second last line. This is the last line. Let's press Ctrl X, Y and enter. And now if you just run cat, it will throw up everything that is there in the file. It is starting from the first line and it is ending on the last line. But if you just do a head, it's gonna give you first few lines. You see there is no last line here. If you do a tail, so the reverse of head is tail, it will give you the last few lines. You see, it's not giving the first lines. So these are some great utilities when we want to check the first few lines and the last few lines of something with the terminal. Let's clear the screen. Now, if you just do ls, we only have a file here. Let's create a folder. So folder is a make directory, mkdir. Let's name it as test folder. And now you do ls, you see a folder right here. Let's go in this folder. And now let's do ls, the pwd. And you see we are in this folder. Let's create a file. How do you create a file in a folder? Well, you can use nano again. So you just say nano and new file or some name, and then you just save it and it'll save in the folder. But I like to do touch, touch. touch is a command that is used to create files. So new file, and I say touch new file 1.txt. So you also give extension if you want. Now if I do ls, you see we have a new file and we have a new file 1.txt. So let's clear the screen. Let's move back. Let's do a ls. Now here you see we have this folder. Let's say we want to delete this folder. You cannot delete, copy and move folders without giving the recursive flag. Well, there are some situations where you can move and copy folders, but deleting always requires the recursive flag. So I always recommend to use recursive whenever you are working with the folder. Now what is this recursive flag? Let's say I want to delete this folder, rm testfolder.txt, the test folder, and I just press enter and it will not work. It says it is a directory. So the reverse flag is dash capital R, and now you say test folder, and now if you just press enter, it works. And you just say ls, you don't find anything. Let's clear the screen. So this is the recursive flag. Now let's move this test.txt to the OS boxes folder again. So I will say mv test.txt, and then I will just say home/OS boxes, and it will not give me any output. It will not tell me that was the operation successful or not. In this cases we have the verbose flag, which is -v. So you say -v, and when you press enter, it will tell you what happened. So it moved test.txt to home OS boxes test.txt. It says renamed because the location was renamed, but that's fine. It actually works. So if you just go ahead and do cd -- and you press ls here, you will find test.txt is right here. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the permission set. Let's say you do ls-lh. You will see that there are the permissions. So in this case, read, write, execute, then the read and execute, and then the read and execute. So RWX. You can see RWX, the first one, this is my user. So I am the owner. I am the user which defines this set. So I can read the file, I can write the file, and I can execute the file. Execute generally means running a software or running a file. Now, other users on this machine, which is the second set, this is R and X. They can read the file and they can execute the file. They cannot write anything in my files. So these are my files, right? Then the outside world, which is not in the groups, they cannot again write the file, but they can read and execute. How do you work with these permissions? Let's only work with test.txt. And for the simplicity, I am again going to move it to the downloads folder. And we are going to go in the downloads folder. And let's clear the screen. And let's do ls. Now we only have one file, so it will be easy to work with permissions. So chmod is to change the permissions of the file. Let's say chmod 111. And I just add the test.txt file. So now I am changing the permission of this file to 111. The first one is for me, the second one is for the group, and the third one is for the outside world. Let's just press enter. Let's just check the permissions of this file again. Now you see there are only execute, execute, and execute permissions. No one can edit and read this file. They can only run this if it was a software or it was a program or a script. Let's change the file permissions again. chmod 222 test.txt. Let's do the ls-lh again. You will find now they can write, and write. Let's do it with 3. So permissions of 3, 3 and 3. Now, interesting fact. 3 equals 2 plus 1. So 2 plus 1 makes 3. It means now this command will give the write and execute permissions to everyone. Let me verify that for you. Now let's try chmod 444 test.txt. 4 is for the, now 4 is read. Now you will see it will only have read permissions for everyone. You see read, read and read. Let's do. So using the same logic, if I want to have all the permissions, what will I need? R is 4, X is 1, and W is 2. 4 plus 1 plus 2. That is 7. Let's do chmod 777 test.txt. Let's check the permission set now. You see, write, read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. That is how you work with permissions. Let us suppose an example. We want to change the permissions. All permissions for us, only read permissions, only read and execute permissions for the group, and only read permissions for the outside world. Let's make that command. chmod 7 for us. Now, only read and execute permissions. So, the read is 4 and execute is 1, which means 5. Now, and only read permissions for the world, that means 4. And now we do a test file name and press enter. Let's do ls-lh. You see it works. Read, write, execute for us, read and execute for the group, and only read for the outside world. This is also called discretionary access control, and this is very helpful, and you will definitely need this a lot. So make sure you practice this. Now the last command I want to cover is the chown, the ownership. Let me just do a ls-lh for you. It says OS Boxes is the user with the OS Boxes group owns this file. If you just go to the terminal and you just go to the folder where it is, you see that the file is normal. But if I just say chown root, and I just give the file name, actually it says cannot access root, so that's fine. Seems like we forgot something. There was a colon here, root colon root. Now it says changing ownership of test.txt, operation not permitted. Operation is not permitted because we are not root user. We are a standard user. So to get root, you can say switch user, SU, and you can say SU root. So we want to switch user to root. It is asking for your password. Now you are root, and now you can run that command. So let's say chmod, and now because root user is the super user, you can do anything with this. Other users have restricted permissions. So now I can just say chown root colon root, and then you can say the file name. It works, and if you will see here, you have a lock here. You cannot do anything with this file. This is the owner of this file is not you, it is the root. So now if you try to change permissions, you won't be able to do that because owner is root, not you. You see ls-lh, you will see the owner is root, not you. And that is how you work with the ownership of the files. These last two, The chmod and chown commands were the most essential things you should know because they help a lot in privilege escalations, running commands, running programs, and other stuff like that. And please do not proceed in this course without practicing these commands for at least 5 to 6 hours. I want you to have very strong terminal basics. If your knowledge of terminal is not good, you won't be able to proceed with the course. And do not proceed without doing all these commands yourself, which we did in this lecture.